Go.
Streaming from South Africa to the world. This is the Stonks Go Moon Podcast. What just happened? We break it down so you don't have to.
Welcome everyone to the Stonks Go Moon Podcast. My guest today, Vineet Luthra, co-founder and head of product at Hyblock Capital. Welcome to the pod.
Hey Rocco, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on.
Absolutely. You can see I'm very giddy. I'm happy as we're recording now. Bitcoin is on an absolute tear, 84,000, 84,400 towards 100K. Markets are doing well off the back of Republican landslide. Even gold is up. You could throw a dart at a board, just pick a stock, and it's going, it's pumping. Absolutely amazing time for the markets. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. It's a great time to be in the market right now. Great time to be investing. I think you don't really need to do. I mean, obviously do your own research, but it seems like whatever you pick right now, it's going to go green. It's going to go up, and it's like I think people should definitely take advantage of this time to at least start learning, start diving in, because it might not be there forever, and it might be an opportunity of a lifetime for all of us.
Yeah, so let's get into it. You come from a TradFi background. I want to say Citi. The Citibank?
Yeah, I was in Citi for a few years post college. I went to college at Rutgers. Then right after I graduated, I was on the trading desk at Citigroup, and then I continued. I left, but I was in traditional finance in the technology space. So I worked for like a risk management and portfolio management tool while I was building Hyblock Capital.
So, interesting. See there, because I speak to a lot of people, and that's I get that. While I was in traditional finance, I was mining Bitcoin, I was dabbling, I was red pilling, whatever it is. But it's not like, I left traditional finance and then I went into, it's like while I was busy. So that's a very interesting point. What was the fascination for you?
Yeah, so I think while I was in traditional finance, I think I found the world very interesting, but I always found it to be a little bit of a black hole, where a lot of the investment vehicles, a lot of things that I was working on, it was very allocated to the select few, and it was interesting to support those businesses, but it was never something that I could myself kind of get into or dive into myself. And what I think gravitated me towards crypto is the transparency and like the ease of access into this ecosystem, where like things like trading and investing and DeFi, it was for everybody. And I think that was really nice. And also the barrier to entry was very low. I think what I used to charge for a risk management system or for data in the traditional space, or what services costed at banks, was in the tens or hundreds or millions of dollars, versus in crypto, data is available for free, and to get into this industry and learn it and get your feet wet is almost no cost at all, which I think is great for your average person.
You touched on data driven or data being very important. How have you seen data driven decisions, especially in crypto, evolve since you've been from back in the day until now?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think it depends on the kind of type of investor you are, but it also, I think it changes with time. I think one thing about crypto is there is a lot of data out there. So whether you're looking at on-chain analytics, off-chain analytics, sentiment analytics, KOL data, it could be sometimes overwhelming. And I think the narrative changes over time.
Yeah.
For us right now, I think the market it's a narrative-based market. It's a very sentiment-based market. I think that is the interest in users now in terms of data and how they want to look at investment opportunities. I would say when we started, I think my focus was also much more narrow. It was very trader focused. So we were looking at exchange data, trade data. That type of data was what I was interested in. But as I have expanded my knowledge in the space, I've realized this more narrative sentiment side of the business is much more higher in demand.
What do you use to track that? How do you quantify that?
Yeah,
That
so there's
sentiment.
a so there's a few ways. I think some of it comes from exchanges. Like exchanges provide data, like for example, they have something called long-short ratios, right?
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of users across all accounts on Binance, BitMEX, Bybit are currently in a long. That's a very popular indicator on our site that's used to track just overall sentiment in the market. There's things like Twitter data, right? What coins are being tweeted about. That seems to be in high demand.
We saw the power of Twitter and the elections. So yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Um, and then I think there's like just information on how the narrative of certain assets are being spread through a lot of your socials, like your
Mm.
KOLs, through your YouTube different videos. How easy it is for us to spread this story or this information of this token.
That's to me insane because I grew up with what's your macro thesis or what's the economics behind this, and now it's all about social media and narratives driving price. To me, that's insane.
hmm Yeah, no, it's a different thought process. I don't think it's an incorrect thought process, but it's definitely different. And
Yeah.
I think when you enter the space of crypto, your mindset needs to change a little bit because it's a different way of evaluating an asset versus
Mm-hmm.
what we were used to.
Yes.
But I think it's a very interesting one. And I think once you wrap your head that this is the way that these vehicles work, these investments work, it's the picture becomes much clearer.
So, do you cater for retail and institutional traders, or yeah, who do you cater for?
Yeah, so our data is more specific on market flow, right? Like your
Okay.
trade data, your order book, your order flow data. We have sentiment data as well. We're always expanding our data set, but our bread and butter is still like that trader focused trade flow information for
Yes.
the traders who trade on that more lower to medium time frame type opportunities.
Okay.
Um, and I would say when we first started the company, it was a completely retail focused product. Actually, the way we even got started was me and my co-founder trading ourselves, pulling this data, and
Right.
like we were just building analytics and tools and sharing it on Discord channels and Telegram channels. And eventually, it just caught fire. People were really interested in what we were sharing. They started saying like, "Hey, we would pay."
Mm,
For you
mm.
to kind of produce this information on a more regular basis, and then it turned into a company. As our company has
Ah,
evolved and the industry has grown, institutions have obviously entered the space, and therefore now the audience split is still majority retail, but now a
mm,
significant portion is now split to institutions
mm.
as well.
To me, it makes sense because that's what you know. If you going to do a startup, you start from that point of, oh, I come from this. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I know, and I like that.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like, and I think it's a nice transition also for traders who are very immersed within the traditional finance realm to
Mm,
transition into crypto with our product. Even myself building the product, had some knowledge of crypto while building it, but then as I've built the product, my knowledge has grown, and it's like entering the crypto space without, because if you go deep into DeFi and all this stuff, it could be a big learning curve. But
mm.
but going somewhere where the data is very translatable to what you're used to trading, like looking at order flow data and liquidations data and order book data. These are things that futures traders, FX traders,
Yes,
stock traders, they've seen their whole life. So
yes.
that same thing translates to crypto, and it just adds that first step to get into this industry.
Okay, talk to me about the terminal. If I log on, what sort of cool, innovative features am I going to see? What can I expect?
Yeah, so um, I think we have two kind of edge like ways that we differentiate ourselves in this
Mm,
market. One is the way that we build proprietary indicators on top of the data. So the data is obviously free; it comes from the exchanges, but
yeah.
how do you use that data to build some interesting kind of signals? So I would say our biggest kind of edge, or what gave us our name, is what's called our liquidation levels. Right. So
Okay.
that's like a proprietary tool that we've built where we try to predict where where liquidity exists in the chart based on where we think users will get liquidated. So obviously we know that leverage is something that's very accessible in the crypto markets. A lot of new retail users heavily, take out leverage to try to maximize gains. But, there is a downfall where, and this has happened to all of us is, it happens where price goes against you and you get liquidated. Now where you get liquidated is is a natural pool of liquidity in the chart. Right. So liquidation events happen, and trying to understand where liquidation events could occur in the future could be valuable insights or predictive insights for traders. Right. So if if you have data coming in at the lowest level, then you can really see, okay, I think future liquidity exists at this price because this is where I think a lot of liquidations will occur. And that knowing that ahead of time could be very powerful.
Yeah, that's cool.
One area.
Okay.
That kind of dives into the proprietary indicators. And the second is more of our visualizations. How do we take this information and visualize it in unique ways that people are not used to? I think the standard way to look at data for traders is you have a candlestick chart, and then you have kind of indicators below, similar to what you see on TradingView.
Yes.
But building things like, histograms and heat maps or scatter plots, screeners, these are all interesting visualization techniques that allow you to look at the data in a way to kind of capture trends or outliers a little bit faster. I think what we try to get out of our product is how can you, with all the data we have, how can you find opportunities quickly? And I think the diversification of tools that we have allow you to scan the market and find an opportunity very fast.
Okay, cool. What's your vision for 2025? What's in the pipeline?
Yeah, so I think a couple of things. I think we are seeing, especially with this new, with Trump coming into office, I think the institutional wave will continue. I think we're going to see more and more institutions getting into the space. And for us, it's about expanding our product offering to cater to that. Okay. I think simple dashboard and metrics is just one thing, but I think that's kind of basic. I think what institutions really look for is one, like we mentioned, something proprietary that they can't build themselves, something that is worth buying because there's an edge. Two is research. We've seen a lot of interest in research, having some thought leaders interpret the market and purchasing what their opinions are for the certain weeks or months into the future.
Yep.
And then maybe some sort of automation as well, right? Automation of kind of programmatic access to indicators so that you could trade a little bit quicker. I would say that's the third thing, but I would say the first two, proprietary indicators and research, is where we see the most demand from institutions and where we plan to expand our offering as well.
Awesome. Vineet, thank you so much for joining me today. If the listeners want to go and connect with you and find out more about Hyblock Capital, where can they do that?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, www.hyblockcapital.com. Also, we have a lot of information on our product on our Twitter, again, at hyblockcapital.com as well.
And we'll put all the links in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me today. And to our listeners, peace, love, and prosperity. I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.
I was crazy, said I'd never break the chains. In a world full of gravity, I'm chasing bigger gains. Blueprints on the table, dreams drawn in the dust. No backing from the bankers, just a heart full of trust. Yeah, I'm loading hope to steal, turning scraps into a plan. Every screw, every panel says here's where I stand. Got a map in my mind, no GPS to tune. Just a man and his rocket heading straight for the moon. I'm building my sky, I'm breaking the rules. With nothing but fire and a pocket of tools. They laughed at my dream, but soon they'll see. I'm building my way to infinity, to the moon. Yeah, to the moon. The nights are cold, but the vision burns bright. Each failure's a fuel for my endless fight. Neighbors shaking hands, calling me a fool, but my garage is my launch pad, my laboratory school. The countdown's my heartbeat, the stars are my guide. No astronaut training, just a rebel inside. Gravity pulls, but I'm tearing through the gloom. I'm a man and his rocket and I'm leaving soon. I'm building my sky, I'm breaking the rules. With nothing but fire and a pocket of tools. They laughed at my dream, but soon they'll see. I built my way to infinity, to the moon. yeah, to the moon. Yeah, to the moon. Hear the engines roar, this is my declaration. One man's vision can defy a nation. Launch pad lights, stars in my sight. The dark side of the moon, yeah, that's my night. If I fail, I'll fall as a comet in flames, but if I rise, they'll remember my name. I'm building my sky, I'm breaking the rules, with nothing but fire and a pocket of tools. They laughed at my dream, but now they see I built my way to infinity, to the moon. Yeah, to the moon. To the moon. Yeah, to the moon. To the stars, yeah. To the stars. When I land, I wonder how the dream of one man shook the world somehow. A rocket, a man, the courage to choose, to build my sky and escape the blues. To the moon, yeah, to the moon. To the stars, yeah, to the stars. And when I land, I wonder how the dream of one man shook the world somehow. A rocket, a man, the courage to choose, to build my sky and escape the blues.